I hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful holiday yesterday, because now it is in fact Boxing Day. Well, even though Americans don't really celebrate that, I'm pretty sure, I know UK does, and I think Canadians do, and we have a few Canadians in the chat, so that's pretty good. So happy Boxing Day with all that, but I hope you had a Merry Christmas Eve, all that stuff, or I don't know if Hanukkah is still going on, but Kwanzaa, maybe? I don't know. Happy holidays, and if you don't like that, then happy shut the hell up. So there's that. But we do have a rather packed show for you guys today. Mainly it's box office. A lot of box office news, because there's going to be, projections as it is Friday, but there has been a lot of box office records that have been broken the past couple of days, as well as, what was done around Christmas and all that. So, of course, we're going to be talking about that. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about a little bit of movie talk madness. We got a few teasers, a few release dates to be talking about in regards to sports stars and other such trailers. And then, of course, MCU Weekly. We got so many Doomsday rumors for the teasers, for people showing up, for the plot. Once again, we got to cover all of that. Then, of course, we have a little bit for more Brand New Day for X-Men, for Ghost Rider. You can probably see in the, title what we have planned for that, so stay tuned. We have a couple quick hits, not as many this time around, but we do have quite a few. And then, of course, we have to get into DCU Daily. We have our DC quick hits. More Zack Snyder, a little bit of delayed projects, a little bit more of what's to come, in addition to the major stories in regards to the next James Gunn directed film in the DCU, which is, of course, set to be Man of Tomorrow. Some additional characters that people, of course, are rumoring to be the, the head honchos, the holy trinity of DC, and we will be talking about that, of course. But until then, we have to get into this big, beautiful news intro, and then get into that. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking all sorts of pop culture news. Hell yeah.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, let's get into the news proper. Got to show that ticker. And with that, we have to welcome everyone to the show. But before that, we got to welcome me to the show. Hi, I'm your host, John. Dan is a little, kind of ghosted me a little bit, but that's okay. It's the end of the week. It's after a holiday, so that's fine. But I'm here. We are here to talk about all sorts of news, as I mentioned. Then, of course, after that, we're going to be talking Fan Cast Friday. The thing that won the poll, spoiler alert, is, of course, what role is Scarlett Johansson playing in the Batman Part 2? So we're going to be going over that, and should be a very exciting Fan Cast Friday. And before I enter the show proper, let's see who's in the chat. Hello, Decole Gomez is in the chat. Caleb is in the chat. Enterprising, Emo Nerd Girl, Monique Rupley with her dinner of the day. Lovers quarrel? No, nothing like that. It just, he's busy right now. But, welcome to the show, everybody. And then, of course, more people are going to eke in a little bit. But, of course, let's truly get into the things that make this show worthwhile, the things that everybody wants to see. And that's, of course, box office. Let's get into box office. But the first bit, actually, wrong first bit of news. That was My bad. First bit of news is the Christmas box office. I apologize. This was a very haphazard sort of introduction, but here we are. The Christmas box office, Avatar 3 makes $24 million, and then Marty Supreme powers to a $9.5 million opening day. That should be expected. There was nothing really all that big. I mean, there were a couple franchise movies like the SpongeBob movie and Anaconda. Don't want it, none unless you got buns, hun. Clearly, this don't got buns because Anaconda was pretty not well praised. But that's beside the point. Of course, we have all that. So we are going to be talking about this for a little bit. Not that. Again, I apologize. A little hectic right now. But first things first is this. So Avatar Fire and Ash has made $24 million on Christmas Day. Marty Supreme had a strong $9.5 million opening day to land in second place. And pretty much everything else has just kind of come after that. You do have Zootopia 2, you have Sing Sung Blue, you have The Housemaid, but Song Sung Blue, sorry, but Zootopia 2 made $5.2 million. Oh, and Anaconda. So it looks like Anaconda hit third place, and then Zootopia 2 made 5.2, Song Sung Blue made 4.4, and with that, and then The Housemaid made about $3.5 million. So that was it for the Christmas box office. Of course, we're going to be getting into more box office things, but that's neither here nor there. But here we are. Oh, hello, Hunter Iggy. Nice to see you. Yeah. Come on, everyone thinking that Disney was going to lose. Come on, that's silly. That's silly now. But of course, we're going to get into the more generalization of what has happened this year. Box office studio report card. Warner's bets pay off. Disney scores, but Marvel struggles. Tom Cruise can't save Paramount. Of course, this has been a very interesting year. Well, it didn't hit the projected box office, which was about $9 billion, which I think was going to be, I think it was better than last year though, because I think that was 8.1 and this was around 8.4, 8.5. We did briefly talk about this on Tuesday. So, that's pretty good. I mean, it still isn't going to like save the movie theater business. It's still on track to not be the best, but it goes to show that there have been a lot of successes this year. You did have, smaller movies like Sinners and Final Destination Bloodlines, Conjuring Last Rites, all these smaller films, all by Warner Brothers and New Line, stepping up and making a shit ton of money. Then you had the international hit with F1, and then, of course, the biggest superhero film this year with Superman, which was more of a domestic hit. And then, of course, Minecraft movie with its memes and Gen Z lovers. It was going to, that made a ton of money this year. Unfortunately, Mission Impossible couldn't quite get there as it received very mixed reviews. But I think it's safe to say that the biggest winner this year, to the shock of no one, was Disney, of course. Disney's box office hit $6 billion for first time since COVID, thanks to Lilo and Stitch and Zootopia 2. Yes, while it did have some stinkers in regards to like Snow White and a couple others, thanks to Lilo and Stitch and Zootopia 2, and to a much lesser extent Avatar, because that's not technically considered a Disney movie, but it still technically counts. But in terms of the ones with the actual Disney logo and what are considered Disney movies, the live action remake of Lilo and Stitch making being the highest, one of the highest grossing, I don't think it's the highest grossing anymore, I think Zootopia 2 beat it, the highest grossing of this past year, and Zootopia 2 pretty much getting there, breaking the record in like 17 days or whatever. So yeah, it seems like Disney it's too big to quit, too big to lose. if anybody was like, oh yeah, Disney's definitely on the way out. No, come on. Like, even if they're not making bank in the movie theaters, they're making bank in merchandise. And even though the parks have not been as great as they once were, they're still, come on. Did you see the viewership of the Captain America Doomsday trailer? It made some insane numbers for a trailer that already leaked. Yeah, because the dick is firmly still in the mouth of many when it comes to Marvel. So here we are. But it seems like, no other studio has managed to reach $6 billion since 2015. Underscoring the significance of Disney's feat is the reality that the overall box office hasn't regained its strength since the pandemic-induced reset, with ticket sales still lagging around 27% behind the before times, thanks to $2 billion behemoths Maze, Lilo and Stitch, which has made $1.03 billion, and then Zootopia 2, which has made $1.3 billion and counting, as well as I mentioned, James Cameron's juggernaut Avatar: Fire and Ash, $450 million after a week of release. And even though the Marvel sequels, like Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and then non-sequel Fantastic Four, even though those were not as big as they could have been, they still got, combined, that's about $1 billion. So, $1 billion. So, there was that. So, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I do hate Disney, their business practices, and what they're relying on. But the thing is, what they're relying on is what makes money. Nostalgia bait. I mean, that's why Doomsday is probably going to make fucking $5 billion. Fuck my rumor of my prediction of like, oh, it's not even going to make $1 billion. Yeah, it's going to, you know what, fuck it. Like, at this point, that theory's out the window at this point. It's going to make $10 billion at this point at the box office because there is no hope for humanity's future. There's no hope for the intelligence of many, because if we, still see the same slop over and over again, this is what's going to be making money. The Matt Damon movie looks good. Which Matt Damon movie? If you're talking about The Odyssey, yes, that does look very good. I'm very excited to see The Odyssey. So yeah, box office with all that. So, and then speaking of Avatar 3, I already mentioned this. Avatar: Fire and Ash crosses $450 million ahead of Christmas holiday. So even though there has been plenty of talk of James Cameron hanging up the towel, not just for now, but permanently, because he still wants many movies to do, there is a Monumental Comics. I think he means Cynic. Cynic is CYNIC, but I appreciate that. I mean, the thing is, I will look at it in this case, I will look at it from a movie theater perspective, and I am happy that people are still going to the movie theaters, even though it's unfortunately Disney, and I'm not a huge fan of their business practices. I'm not a huge fan of how they're catering to the nostalgia bait crowd and the member berries crowd to sell their movies, and unfortunately, that's the thing that makes billions of dollars. But hey, they're a business at the end of the day. It's a business. They got to make money, so that's what they'll cater to. So, yeah, because, low standards, everybody. But with that, Avatar: Fire and Ash crosses $450 million ahead of holiday. And then the last bit of box office news is that the Christmas box office best post-COVID with $68 million plus. So as we mentioned already, I probably should have showed this after the fact, but yes. But this shows the actual combined number of $68 million Christmas box office. So we're leaning back into the Christmas box office, and it did. It has been the best post-COVID. So this is good. I don't know if nature is healing, but they're catering to all the right things. They're using nostalgia bait. They're using sequels. So that's something, I guess. Remember Fox X-Men? I remember they were fantastic. Say that again. I understand, Monumental. I understand. Just letting you know. I don't want to be a grammar Nazi, but just letting you know. But that is it for the box office side of today. Next up, we have Movie Talk Madness, and we are going to be talking about plenty of that. So, Movie Talk Madness, the biggest thing that has come out today, I don't know if anybody here specifically cares about it, but I did see the trailer for this, and I'm intrigued. I'm probably not going to see it in the theater because I am not a huge fan of the actual filmmaker in and of itself. but I am at the very least curious because I like the people involved, even though the director is a scumbag. But that is, of course, the upcoming John Madden biopic. A teaser trailer has dropped for the Nicolas Cage and Christian Bale starring film, which also includes Catherine Hahn, Sienna Miller, John Mulaney, and Shane Gillis. It is directed by the king of sleaze, David O. Russell. He has been known to be a very hard director to work with and not a very good one, as the last few movies he's done have been stinkers. And we'll see if he can get back to his, glory days of the initial greatness that was with like stuff like American Hustle and The Fighter and things like that. But this is definitely it's an Amazon MGM film, and it released on Christmas Day, released yesterday. And even though Nicolas Cage definitely looks weird in this movie, I mean, I don't know if he's actually fat or the fat suit just looks weird, but I'm intrigued with this. I'm very intrigued with this. Yeah, I think David O. Russell's a scumbag, but here he is. The Madden movie looks good. I want an Alpha Flight movie. I don't even know what that is. Why would anyone Anaconda? Okay. But the film tracks Madden's journey from humble beginnings to coaching the Raiders to the Super Bowl in 1976, and later finding further success on television, video games, and becoming a reliable pitchman for a wealth of advertisers. The Hollywood Reporter previously reported that the film will serve as more of an origin story of Madden NFL, one of the biggest video game franchises of all time. Oh, I apologize for that. Joining Cage in the film is fellow Oscar winner Christian Bale, with the Brit actor seemingly immersing himself once more to play Al Davis, the owner of the Raiders, during Madden's time with the team. So it seems like we don't know if this is getting a theatrical release, but for the time being, it's definitely going to be released onto Amazon. And considering this is a much smaller film, I can imagine this will most likely be a streaming release. But at the very least, I am curious. I want this to be good, but I mean, who knows? I think that's a good way, M2G. It depends on the reviews. It very much depends on the reviews, because who fucking knows at this point. But I'm a bit curious. But this was the trailer for it. It is going to be released on November 26th, 2026. And it's definitely looks like a lot of fun. But it's interesting. But we will see. I hope hopefully it's not just a Madden NFL video game origin story, because that would be kind of lame, because I feel like John Madden is a much more interesting John Madden is a more interesting figure than just the guy attached to the video game franchise. But considering that's how many people nowadays know him as, I can kind of see it. Yes, that is exactly the man. But yeah, David O. Russell is known to be a scumbag. I think he also allegedly sexually harassed people as well. But who at this stage in Hollywood, who doesn't do that outside of like Keanu Reeves and Paul Rudd? So that's a fair point, Enterprise. But we will get to that. We'll get to your super chat later, Geeky Guy. Don't worry, we're going to be talking about that. But for right now, we're talking Movie Talk Madness. And then, of course, we are going to be getting the next thing we're going to get into is Wicked for Good, flying into homes before the end of 2025. So if you were not entranced by the film, if you didn't like the first one, but were still intrigued to see the second one, but not in theaters, well, here you go. You will be able to see it online soon. So it seems like it is going to be available December 31st, last day of the year. It is going to hit premium video on demand. And then for anybody interested in physical releases, it's going to be 4K, Blu-ray, and DVD on January 20th, 2026. So if you are at all excited over that, then by all means. But yeah, so December 31st. So if you want to stay up late and try to watch New Year's Eve, well, we try to at least what my family does is we watch a couple movies to stay up, and then we, hit that and then immediately go to bed. But yeah, good stuff. Next up, we have another trailer, actually, with Charlize Theron trailer. Taron Egerton is on the hunt for Charlize Theron in Netflix survival thriller Run for Your Life. That's the message for Charlize Theron from a crazed serial killer played by Taron Egerton, who's set on hunting her down. Netflix released the first trailer for the upcoming survival thriller. Set in the unforgiving Australian wilderness, Apex follows a grieving woman who heads to the wilderness only to become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse with a serial killer, according to the official description. I will say this looks okay. It kind of looks like a slightly different version of The Most Dangerous Game. It's not quite the same, but it like kind of gives me that vibe. I don't know. It's a Netflix movie. It looks okay. It doesn't look like the greatest thing ever, but you know, it's looks fine. It looks like fun. Looks like a fun movie. So we'll see. And it seems like we're going to be having fun with this one at the very least. Well, at least from a horror point of view. And it's always interesting to see Taron Egerton be the bad guy. Like, he's usually not the bad guy. He's usually like a good, clean-cut dude. So seeing him as the bad guy, I probably want to see it for that. You know, like Taron Egerton, he's a damn good actor, and he's usually playing the hero. So I'm intrigued with that. Taron Egerton sings John while hunting Charlize Theron. Yeah, very funny. But yeah, so looks good. Looks like a fun time. I don't know if it'll be anything great, but we will see. Of course, that's it for Movie Talk Madness. Of course, now we're going to be getting into MCU Weekly. A lot of MCU news. So, of course, we're going to be talking about all of that. Mainly it's Doomsday news because the rumors will not quit. Of course, it's going to be mainly what the teasers. So we've been talking about the teasers a bit for right now. So, you know, we're going to talk about the third teaser because, as we all know, the Thor one is going to be the second one that got leaked, and we're going to be talking about a little bit about that, as well as the rumored plot stuff on what the main plot is going to be, and a major twist that's going to be held for that. And then, of course, Brand New Day. People are still going crazy over Sadie Sink, so there's that too. But yeah. And then a little bit of X-Men news, not just with the Brand New Day stuff, but with the upcoming X-Men reboot. And then the biggest news, like, well, it depends on who you ask, but the thing that's in the title, of course. But obviously, you don't want to hear me talk about it. You want to see it. Here we are. But it seems like the industry industry experts believe Avengers Doomsday will be 2026's highest grossing film, which is a damn shame, but you know, I'm not surprised. Sorry about that. Yeah, to me, my X-Men. To me, garbage is what I'm going to be saying, because that X-Men reboot's probably going to be trash. But it seems like many are saying the return of Avengers holds off Mario. Avengers Endgame grossed $2.8 billion, and the average Avengers film has grossed about $1.9 billion. But they were all released before the pandemic. And the recent downturn in Marvel performance, there is more confidence in a Christopher Nolan movie than Star Wars or Minions. So this is the chart in terms of what's going to be coming out for next year. Avengers Doomsday is, you know, of course, killing it. Then you have the next Super Mario movie, which, you know, the last one made $1 billion. So, you know, especially in this post-COVID day and age, that's pretty awesome. And then, of course, the glorious return of Toy Story with Toy Story 5 with, you know, an iPad being the villain, because, you know, you could end that in like 2 seconds. Just chuck the fucker down the stairs, but here we are. Funny enough, I guess. Yeah. So then the Odyssey, saying something. Dune, that's, a major step below the Odyssey because, Nolan has the clout. Then you have Mandalorian and Grogu, but, considering that, nobody knows this is coming out because they released that teaser months ago, they're probably going to release a couple more trailers. But, I don't really, it's going to make money, yes. But, it's probably gonna, I don't think it's gonna make $1 billion, but it's probably gonna make a shit ton of money. Because the thing is, people see Star Wars, a new Star Wars movie, we gotta go see that. Because the general audiences is what propelled these movies, So it's gonna make a shit ton of money because people will have kids, they'll see a trailer, they'll see something, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. They just need to actually fucking market the thing. Who knows if that's happening? And then Minions 3, who cares about that? And then the Moana live action movie. Still gonna make money, but maybe not Lilo and Stitch money, maybe more so Snow White money. But yeah, so it seems like Avengers Doomsday is gonna kill it again. My theory is already going out the window, but that's okay. But to keep on the Avengers Doomsday train, the second teaser trailer, the Thor one, with him saying a prayer to Odin to protect his new daughter Love, and that got released in English anyway, because the last teaser that got leaked was the, of course, French version. So this is what he is saying. The war and now fate have given me something I never sought, a child, a life untouched by this all. Lend to me the strength of the All-Fathers so that I might fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home to her. Return home to her not as a warrior, but as warmth, to teach her not battle, but stillness, the kind I never knew. Please, Father, hear my words. And then it says Thor will return in Avengers Doomsday. So I will say this, say what you will about the Russo brothers. I have said my fair share. I think they're one-trick pony filmmakers. The look of the film, the plot, nothing will ever be remembered a couple of years from now, maybe 20 years from now. This shit will all be forgotten outside of the fact, oh, hey, it's an Avengers movie. That's why it's going to be remembered. But it seems like that the teaser's already been pulled. But yeah, what did he say in the chat? All right. I guess. I'll take John Campea over fucking Jeff Snyder. They do handle that, and as I was continuing, the Russo brothers have done Thor probably the best since Kenneth Branagh, because I will say this, Thor in that first movie was great as sort of an early douchebag Thor, worked, and then, him redeeming himself. Thor the Dark World wasn't too bad. It was just kind of generic. And then we don't talk about the cock-a-white titties version. And then, the Russo brothers probably got Thor the most right out of any filmmaker. Joss Whedon, I think, handled them pretty well. But I think Russo brothers probably in Infinity War, I have lots of problems with that movie, but I think it's safe to say that Thor was probably one of the best parts of that movie. Honestly, I'd watch that. Would it look good? No, it would be one giant gray ass movie, but hey, at least the character would be correct this time rather than the God of Thunder getting hurt by electrocution, because make it make sense. Yeah, I think Thor was good in the Joss Whedon Avengers movies. Yeah, but the thing is, most characters in the MCU were not comedians in the comics, because Iron Man was the guy, and then they just made everyone like him. That was the whole point, Yeah, 100%. They did a good job with him. So if you can find the trailer in English, boom, good for you. But the other thing that this article is talking about, silver and gold, a very Christmassy type thing that Robert Downey Jr. has posted with, Doom and Iron Man, of course, just kind of needling those, that rumor mill. So, yeah, if you could find it, cool. If you can't, you can maybe still watch the French version. But of course, this is the second one. There's already rumors for the third teaser trailer. It will feature spoiler, and spoiler. Oh, my three favorite characters. I love me some spoiler, but spoiler is pretty damn good. Not a huge fan of that spoiler though. Yeah. I mean, all of their movies outside of Avengers and the Avengers and Captain America movies flopped. Like The Gray Man was not good from what I've heard. Cherry I heard was not very good. So, love spoiler, underrated Marvel movie. But who are they bringing back? This is, hold on, let me get the there we go. So we recently learned that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom won't get his own Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer like what was originally reported. Instead, it seems the plan is to either put the spotlight on him in a future sneak peek, the first proper trailer perhaps, or to keep Victor under wraps, not dissimilar from Galactus in the Fantastic Four First Steps. The latter option feels somewhat ill-advised, but Disney and Marvel Studios' approach to marketing Avengers Doomsday has been pretty unique thus far. I don't know about that, so we'll see. So now Daniel Richtman, who's pretty good, a pretty good scooper, has chimed in to reveal that the Avengers Doomsday preview will feature Cyclops, Professor X, and Magneto. My Time to Shine has added that Cyclops will be depicted shooting lasers. Well, it's not technically lasers, it's concussive blasts, but, whatever. If this intel is accurate, the trailer may stick with the parent-child motif seen in the Steve Rogers and Thor teasers, especially as Scott Summers has also often had a complicated relationship with both of his mutant mentors on this page. Regardless of the context, seeing these three icons in comic-accurate costumes will be nothing short of epic. So, it seems like, because, with one of the initial reports that we did talk about, that the X-Men was going to be a feature show, that it was going to, the initial report of all the teasers was it was going to be the new Avengers, the new Avengers, like the Sam Wilson's Avengers, X-Men, and Fantastic Four. Now, it seems like it's a mix of what was originally reported to not. Because then it was like, oh, it's going to be Steve, Thor, Doom, and then the full teaser. And then they're like, oh, there's going to be a fifth one with Loki. So it seems like that's not the case. And the initial one, the second half was correct. It seems like we're going to get an X-Men focused trailer with the third teaser. And then, here's the thing. I'm just going to say this in regards to comic accurate X-Men costumes. I'd rather have the black leather of the initial trilogy and have consistent quality like X2 rather than comic accurate costumes and the consistency of like X-Men The Last Stand. Because that's what I imagine this is going to be. It's going to be like X-Men The Last Stand levels, where it's just kind of mid, kind of generic. It doesn't have a lot to say, very surface level, like most of the recent Marvel movies have been. So either they're saving Hugh Jackman or he's going to not be in Doomsday at all, and then they're saving him for Secret War. So, we'll see. But here's the thing. I don't really care about comic accurate because we didn't get comic accurate for most of the Fox movies, and those were some of the best comic book movies of all time. So, considering I think Last Stand is like an okay movie. I think it's like a solid 6 out of 10. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's not the best thing ever. So like I expect like this upcoming X-Men reboot, I suspect it'll be like a 6.5, like, because that's the average of most Marvel movies. So, no, Captain Carter is not coming back because why the fuck would they do that? But with this, now we have the fourth teaser trailer. Now it seems like the reporting is, that it seems like that, according to My Time to Shine, that the fourth teaser for Doomsday will now have Shuri and Ben Grimm, and the Doom focused teaser is no more. So it seems like Because there was a whole bunch of rumor mill, as I just mentioned. There was like, oh, it's going to be X-Men focus and then Fantastic Four focus, but it seems, and then there was a later one that specifically said Fantastic Four and Wakandan. So it seems like with this, it's going to be the Fantastic Four Wakanda, with specifically Shuri, the new Black Panther, and Ben Grimm, the Thing. So, yeah, and the fucking DCEU had the rights to all their characters, and they still managed to fuck it up to Marvel, who didn't have their most popular characters. So, shit happens. But, I just don't have a ton of faith in Marvel, and it sucks because I don't want to hate everything Marvel does. It's just I've been scorned too many times, and I can't really be excited for anything outside of, like the main stuff with like Spider-Man, because that's pretty much it. But yeah, so it seems like that the fourth teaser trailer, again, going off to those initial reports that we're going to get an X-Men and Fantastic Four trailer, that we are going to get Fantastic Four, and then the later rumor that we're going to have the Wakandans in there. We have, Shuri in there as well. So it seems like so it's mixing with the earlier rumor and the later rumor that, Fantastic Four with a mix of the Wakandans. So that seems like what the fourth teaser trailer is going to be. Then with this, in terms of the plot, Avengers Doomsday rumor suggests that there will be a traitor among the Avengers, and we know who it could be. So, the plots of Avengers movies have usually felt pretty straightforward. Doomsday, on the other hand, has been quite a bit trickier to figure out. We know Doctor Doom will be the main antagonist, and the movie has been rumored to focus on parental dynamics. Aside from that, there's little else we understand about Marvel's upcoming epic. Going by the various rumors swirling around online, however, it seems like it will have one of the most intricate, in a good way, stories in the MCU. We'll see, which makes its main plot points even more difficult to figure out. Now, a new rumor may suggest an interesting development for the upcoming blockbuster and its sequel, Secret Wars. One many may not have seen coming, there could be a traitor among Earth's mightiest heroes. Scooper Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus, who has been very hit and miss, mainly miss, recently stated that Steve Rogers would not be the Captain America of Doomsday. Obviously, Sam Wilson's Captain America. A fan replied to his post wondering if Doom would turn Rogers into Hydra Captain America. The scooper replied cryptically, "Wrong traitor," seemingly hinting at there being a traitor among the Avengers. Now, obviously, who the hell it could be. I mean, it could be Sue Storm, because she, was brainwashed by, Doom in the actual Secret Wars comic and in the Battle World, rechanging when he became God Emperor Doom. So, I know who the traitor is. His name is Kevin Feige. I hate AI ruining the Doomsday trailers. Please upload the AI leaks, and Disney can't do anything because it causes technically not theirs. How many damn trailers? It looks like there's going to be 4. You didn't like Daredevil or Thunderbolts? I thought I didn't see Daredevil. I didn't see Thunderbolts, so I don't know how good those are. But Fantastic Four I found to be very overrated and very mid. Outside of the escape sequence from Galactus's ship, it seems as though the rest of the movie it felt like a very hackneyed sort of like production. It felt very much like not the best thing ever. So, I think it's kind of a shame. Because I really wanted to like it. It's like a solid 6.5. It's a good movie, but in terms of the first, fantastic, it needed what it needed to do. Like, there hasn't been a great Fantastic Four movie, and if a lot of people liked it, that's fine. But for me, I just thought it was okay. I feel like they focused on the wrong things. They did too much, but too little at the same time. It could have worked, but it just didn't, unfortunately. Do you think they are going to just rehash the past or update the story? What do you mean by that? I think they're going to rehash the past. That's kind of what they've been kind of hinting at. Who do you think will survive Doomsday, since we know most of the characters will die? I would imagine that, I could see like major like Avengers characters dying, but like I could also see like a lot of the ones that people don't care about, like Shang-Chi and all that shit. He'll probably die, and pretty much all the incidental characters that nobody really cares about. Then I mean, considering that the like Rotten Tomato score is like in the 80s or 90s, a lot of people seem to have liked it. Yeah, I mean, the closest we'll get is probably The Incredibles because that was great. Thunderbolts has the highest critic score. I mean, I bet it is. I bet it's a great movie, but like I just have no interest in it because I don't really care about the Thunderbolts. So, Daredevil, that's what I've heard. I've heard very mixed things about Daredevil Born Again. I didn't see fans flooding. I did I mean, I saw it was very well praised. I mean, here's the thing. I'll give you an example. Again, this is only one example, but it's still an example. My friend who notoriously hates the MCU, like he's liked a couple things, like he liked Black Panther, he likes the first Iron Man, maybe a couple movies here and there. He likes some things, but for the most part, he hates the MCU. Really doesn't like it. He gave Fantastic Four a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That should tell you a lot. That's what I'm kind of going off of. That a lot of people liked it like that. So, all the X-Men will die, including Deadpool and whatever, if the Russos have the balls. Yeah, but they usually don't. So, in terms of who the traitor will be, it seems like Doctor Strange might be the traitor in regards to this. I mean, Cumberbatch did say he wasn't going to appear in the movie, and then he's like, oh no, I am going to appear in the movie. And so that was a little weird. Yeah, I think some people overhyped it a little bit. So Geeky Guy has a theory. Here's who I think will survive the Fantastic Four. Seems like that's the case. The 3 Spider-Men, Steve Rogers, Yelena, Wolverine, Deadpool, Cyclops, and Doctor. I don't think Wolverine will survive. I think he'll actually die this time. They'll try to like recreate the greatness of Logan, but won't because it's not Logan. I think they are gonna finally, because Hugh Jackman is only gonna get. I mean, I know the till he's 90 joke, but there is a point where he's like, you know what, enough is enough. I can't keep doing that. Yeah, but the concept that was debunked. Remember, the Russo brothers said that was not true. So, obviously, there is that. So one more thing for the spoiler alert tag. Spider-Man Brand New Day, Sadie Sink may be playing in the MCU's Jean Grey after all, which I fucking pray to God is not true. So Daniel Rickman is now reporting that Sadie Sink's character in Spider-Man Brand New Day has mind control powers. That certainly sounds like Jean Grey, don't you think? Well, Alex Perez has chimed in to reveal, allegedly in the movie, there's this character who has mind control powers who reportedly manipulates the damage control guards with the purpose of ultimately helping Scorpion get out of prison. So the recent rumors saying she would be a character called Shathra because she sounds very villainous in the teaser trailer that was leaked. So the Cryptic Fourqual has proven far more reliable than most. While he previously suggested Sink's character would be multiversal in nature, the runtime and trailer leaker has taken to social media to say he was wrong about that and appear to confirm Snyder was correct, at least in terms of the mutant status. So, I mean, I pray to God Sadie Sink is not Jean Grey, because it's like, why the fuck would Jean Grey be in a goddamn Spider-Man movie? I just hope that's not true. And the thing is, she sounds way too villainous in the teaser, and it would be really fucking dumb to have her be like, immediately be the Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, like, out of the get-go. So, I don't think this is true, just from a logistical standpoint. If it is, then we'll see if it's a good movie outside of that, but, like, why would there be an X-Men character? Yeah, the only X-Men character that has been closely related to Spider-Man is Kitty Pryde, because they dated in the comics for a hot sec. I think it was in the Ultimate line. No shot she is Jean Grey. I hope not, but who knows? exactly why would Jean Grey be a villain in the Spider movie. To be fair, she made Iceman gay in the comics, so there is that. But Geeky Guy giving us another super chat. Thanks for that. I swear to the effing Beyonder, if they have Jean Grey restore Ned and MJ's memories to undo No Way Home, I will unleash Doomsday. And I will watch you with beer in hand while chuckling to myself. So that's on you, buddy. Make sure you film it because I'd love to see it. Post it to the YouTube channel because you can follow Just Some Geeky Guy on YouTube. If you want to go subscribe to him, he releases videos sometime. They're not very good, but, he tries. Shaking my head. Yeah, honestly. But, I hope this is not true because that would be really fucking stupid. But had to keep the spoiler tag in there for a hot sec. But next up, we still have more rumor stuff. And the next rumor, speaking of X-Men, is that the X-Men script being rewritten, possible age range for the mutant team revealed. Now, I did my own mutant team. If you want to watch last week's Fancast Friday, then go do that after the show, because I think I had a pretty good team together. A very interesting team, very different team, but still, But yeah, X-Men script being rewritten. It's according to APOC Horseman, who I always thought was not a great scooper, but someone actually told me that no, he's actually way better than people give him credit for, because apparently James Gunn has said to APOC Horseman, "Hey, stop revealing shit." So it seems like APOC Horseman is a lot better than I initially thought. So it seems like he's the best out of all of them. But so this might actually have some credence. But in an update from Nexus Point News' APOC Horseman, it said that the X-Men script is currently being rewritten. We don't know who has been tasked with that job. It could be that Leslie, the initial character, one of the writers for Hunger Games, Songbirds and Snakes, and the new Now You See Me movie, Michael Leslie. But it seems it could be that Leslie's taking another crack at it, but Schreier also worked with a different writer, Joanna Callow, to reshape Eric Pearson's Thunderbolt script. Remember, the Insider later shared updates on the casting process, revealing that Marvel Studios wants this X-Men team to be much younger, with actors in their teens or early 20s. That's going to give them time to grow into these roles, likely playing the characters for the next decade or more. That makes sense. Could we finally get the classic first class of X-Men, followed by the likes of Storm, Colossus, and Wolverine? Time will tell, though. It has repeatedly been said that the MCU's rosters will take its cues from the animated X-Men 97. I mean, even though Kevin Feige was fucking pissed that was, receiving a lot of love, because it's like, oh no, the cartoon people like that more than our planned shit. So it's like, we'll see. So I could imagine they'll go with like, I could see them just straight up doing like the original cast of characters with Iceman, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, and Angel. I could see them doing that. Like just that, but I could also see them introducing much younger iterations, but then they also have like Rogue and Gambit in there. Maybe they have Colossus in there. Maybe they fucking throw in Miss Marvel. I don't know. We'll see, but I hope it's like what I do really much hope for. I do hope we get that first class, like with Professor X, and then the original 5. So or 5 or Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, Angel. Yeah, I think that's all of them. Yeah. But I hope they give us a good script. That's all we can hope for. I'm just going to say this as someone who has done videos online. You have to edit your audio better. That's the problem. You got to make sure your audio is well edited, because you trip over your words a lot with a lot of your videos. That's all I'm saying, bro. You gotta make sure your audio is better. Just as a guy who has done this for a while, edit your audio better. That's your biggest fallout with the YouTube channel. Anyway, but what's your response to people who say that Wolverine has to be in the first MCU X-Men film for it to be successful, because X-Men films without Wolverine don't make much at the box office? I could see that because the thing is, Wolverine has been so integral to the X-Men, even though I think X-Men could do without him. But I could see that happening. However, I think to get around that, just make Daphne Keene Wolverine, because they already did that in the comics anyway. So just make X-23 Wolverine, even though I know a lot of people didn't like that, but just make her Wolverine. So killing two birds with one stone, you're not having Logan yet again be Wolverine and not having Hugh Jackman again, but you're still technically having Wolverine in the movie. So I think that could be a good idea. Hogwarts should say Wolverine is a... Well, I think he's just saying like that it's kind of bullshit. I don't think it's true that you need it, because I mean, First Class was very successful, and a couple other movies. Deadpool was successful. First two Deadpools were successful, so there is that. I agree, they shouldn't introduce Wolverine until sequel. I think it would be really cool if they could do like the original X-Men, the original 5, and then do the giant size X-Men reboot in the 70s, and then do the 90s stuff like with Rogue, Gambit, all that stuff. So I think that could be cool. But elevate other X-Men with better casting, writing, and the right director. I agree. But yeah, then the final bit, going back to Doomsday, but it's very different. Apparently, Robert Pattinson is being eyed for the MCU's Ghost Rider in Avengers Doomsday. Honestly, I could see it, to be fair. But let's see. Last year, it was widely reported that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige had met with the Batman star Robert Pattinson about an undisclosed role. It was likely just a general meeting, but apologies for that. But it seems we came close to seeing Bruce to the spirit of vengeance. According to, hey, look, it's Dan. Hey, Dan, how you doing? He fell asleep, but that's okay. We still love you, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'll catch on. Keep going. Sorry.
So we're talking about how Robert Pattinson might have been considered for Ghost. But according to Nexus Point News, APOC Horseman, who has been very good in terms of rumor mill stuff, Pattinson was eyed for Ghost Rider at one point, but it's not going to be him. Ryan Gosling, I did see a rumor for this a couple days ago. Ryan Gosling's name has been attached to the role on several occasions, so we're still not discounting him showing up as Johnny Blaze in the MCU next December. What's still unclear about Marvel Studios is whether this will be a one-off variant or the version of the character who takes center stage in Midnight Suns, as that was a rumored project after Blade fell through, and they're going to throw Blade into like another movie and just do that, and other supernatural projects. So, I mean, it seems as though, he's kind of interested. Because, I mean, look, in terms of Ryan Gosling playing the role, I mean, he's doing a Star Wars movie, which we never thought that Ryan Gosling would ever fucking do. So there's that. So he might actually be interested in the MCU, because I remember there was concept art way back when they wanted Doctor Strange to be played by Ryan Gosling, and I think he was considered for Joker as well in the 2019 movie. So it seems like he just hasn't been the right role, and maybe he just really wants to be Ghost Rider. I don't know. But Robert Pattinson could have been good, but he's with the Batman right now, so it seems like, yeah, why the fuck would he do that? I mean, he's like, I'm Batman. What would I rather be, Batman?
I mean,
Ghost Rider. I mean, Ghost Rider's awesome, but like, Batman.
I know. I think Batman is way better. He's literally him. I also think you're right. Yeah, the whole, somebody new for the role, like Enterprising was saying. I will just say, in general, a lot of these APOC Horseman answers to questions just felt like wild shots in the dark. Like, it's, it's one thing to have actual knowledge, it's another to sort of have hunches. Because, a lot of us can be like, oh yeah, we are these relatively anonymous insiders, and we can predict a few things here and there.
You're secretly Batman because you don't follow a sleeping schedule.
Well, yeah, infamously, yeah. Sorry, it wasn't. Yeah, I just I I spent the night
My
last night
sleeping
watching
schedule's
Zelda.
been screwed.
So
It's for months. It's
so
fine.
You guys,
I'm still alive,
yeah,
right?
it's the holidays, and like I was literally working on setting up the show stuff for today, and because I spent a lot of time watching. Well, I stayed up a lot with watching Zelda last night. The Corgi, you've seen her on the show a lot, and she's still recovering from brain surgery, so she's on prednisone, like which are basically a form of steroids that keep her up at night and therefore keeps whoever's watching her up at night. So, which I'm not complaining. It's just sometimes it eventually catches up to you, like during the day. Sometimes to me it happens in the afternoon. Sometimes it happens at night. Today I thought I kind of worked past it, but I guess eventually your brain needs some shut eye. So anyway, but as far as this rumor goes, Robert Pattinson. Yeah, like you said, I don't think Robert Pattinson was ever seriously in consideration. I remember there were rumors about like
Right.
him joining the MCU earlier this year, and for a character like Johnny Blaze, now granted, Ghost Rider doesn't have the same level of importance in the MCU that he did when he was like his own character. Like when Nicolas Cage was playing him, he was never like a mainstream character anyway. It was like Ghost Rider was somewhere between the popularity of Blade and on the other end of the spectrum you have like Spider-Man, the pre-MCU days. So but it wasn't ever like a really big deal. And while it has a lot of name value, like when it comes down to it, honestly, if a Ghost Rider does show up in the MCU, you're probably looking at him as like a B/C tier character at best, at least to start, unless they kind of give him the spotlight and let him have his own movie right off the bat. So if you're gonna give him his own movie, then you want to bring in somebody like a Robert Pattinson. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Ryan Gosling, on the other hand, yeah, it would work. Sure, it would work. But it depends on which version they're going with. Because like the last time we saw a live action version of Ghost Rider, it was like the newer iteration, the Robbie Reyes version, right? So if they're going with that, I think what was his name? Was it Gabriel Luna in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I think he did a good job.
Yes, I think that's what it was.
So, thank you, Enterprising. The weekend's coming up, so I'll catch up on some sleep there. There's actually a snowstorm going on outside. I'm sure John also has the same problem where he is.
I like the snow, but that's just me.
No, I don't mind the snow. I think it's more. Well, I'm actually going to be driving in the snow tomorrow. So anyway, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being canon to the MCU. Kevin Feige seems. Look, Kevin Feige has never officially said no, but he's always hinted that it's sort of iffy at best. So we'll have to wait and see. But I really love Gabriel Luna's iteration because it was something different, and obviously anything that's not Nicolas Cage is going to be different from Nicolas Cage, as you probably already talked about. Did you talk about the Madden trailer already? So
I did. We did. We talked movie talk madness and the news. But yeah, we talked about all that. We talked about the box office, about how Disney is friggin' killing it. So
Disney's killing it. I mean, they started off hobbled at the beginning of the year. They finished off at $6 billion, the first studio to do so since the pandemic, was it? Or at least for them it was. I mean, but none, still Warner Brothers. Lots of wins for Warner Brothers along the way. Probably their best year as a studio in a long time. Yeah, it's been kind of sleet out here, Monique, like sleet, and so a little less snow, but like where John is a little further north from me right now, he's probably got more snow on the ground than I do. We are on Facebook, actually. I think we have an Oh So Curious page on Facebook. We usually are also live on Facebook as well, so you guys can check us out there. And so, if you want to watch, well, the YouTube experience is not to be denied, but you can also see us live on Facebook. Then you can ask us questions, leave us comments, we'll respond, so thanks for asking. Nicolas Cage was amazing at Ghost Rider. I bet you that's probably some kind of a member berry cameo with Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider that will hopefully go a lot harder than the CGI version of him as Superman, because Andy Muschietti, stupid.
I love how he's okay. How the fuck he did all this shit? He's like, how the fuck do I witness the end of the multiverse in 3 seconds with one stare? Okay, I got it. Replaced with CGI. Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah. It's I don't get it. I don't. They shot the man in the costume. He couldn't have looked half bad. He's in decent. look, Nicolas Cage is probably in the best shape he has been in a long time, and
he's working on talking about that Madden trailer, but that was way later. So,
it's also like that's because he's playing he's playing the part, right? So that's different. I don't necessarily look at that the same way, but yeah, I see your point. So, yeah. I'll get you the link to Facebook, Emo Nerd Girl. Don't you worry. But yeah, let's keep on rolling.
Well, we have to get into the quick hits now because it's quick hit time. Let's get to. There we go. And the first bit of news, the only thing we have in regards to the thing that nobody wants to talk about, and that is, of course, merger stuff. And it's essentially more of the Ellisons crying and bitching about how they can't get what they want. Oh no. Anyway, but the sale of Warner Brothers Discovery heats up as Ellisons weigh a DEFCON 1 litigation over selection of Netflix bids. So you can go ham on this, Dan.
This is a bit of a non-update for something that feels like an exclusive piece of news. I read this. It's sort of like a, in case you missed it, this is what's been going on, and then they're sort of talking about, based on this particular writer's sources within the different companies involved, that if all else fails, that the Ellisons might decide to just abandon all their biddings. They've submitted like now 7 offers in total if you count like the revised offer, and
something like that.
Maybe even 8 if you look, even though the hostile takeover offer is basically the same as the 6th offer, you could say they've submitted up 8 offers. And Netflix still is, the one with the deal in place. So basically the idea would be they would just sue them, like sue Warner Brothers instead. And at that point they would have... I don't think this is going to happen though, right? Because the last time we talked about this, what I didn't mention was, well, they've had about, at last check, close to half a million shares tendered to them for Warner Brothers. Now, of course... Warner Brothers' total number of shares on the stock market are like 2.8 billion. So it's like there's a long way to go. Like this is nowhere close to like enough for Paramount to have a hostile takeover bid. But as long as they feel like the numbers are ticking in their direction and they have enough traction, I don't think they abandon all this. Because if they did completely abandon their bids, that's a one-way street. You burn that bridge, it's over. Right? They're still somewhat leaving room for interpretation or playing nice with Warner Brothers executives. Clearly, though, the board still favors Netflix, and I think for all the right reasons. Because if you're paying the same amount of money, honestly, I think they're betting on themselves that they'll get more money from selling or from spinning off the Discovery Global networks next year, and then the money that Netflix already agreed to pay. So for the rest of the company, so yeah. There's not a whole lot of movement here other than what's in the headline, and some interesting nuances, but not anything that moves the needle. Yeah, and I don't know if they're stating the obvious about a litigation, but they sent like all those letters the week that Netflix won the bid, so they're not past the idea of suing if they really have to. So I don't think that's going to ultimately change much. Honestly, this is more just they're going out, crying out loud instead of exit stage left because you lost the fight, just fair and square, I guess. So we'll see. I at this point I'm actually leaning more towards Netflix because you could see more and more with what's going on at CBS News and stuff that Paramount they will they will exercise their influence not so judiciously, and I would rather they stay out of politics. And if Netflix stays out of politics, then that's the one I want. So
anyway, but speaking of politics, comedy writer bought Trump Kennedy Center domain names, anticipating president would rename institution after himself. Satire became unavoidable. So
it's like a John Oliver move, isn't it? Like this is something John Oliver would do, because John Oliver's obviously not in season, but this is just great. So of course, the Kennedy Center is, as of right now, named the Trump Kennedy Center, which I don't even think is legal. There's litigation in progress for that. Like they're being sued for this because you can't just override a congressional act to name something by having a board vote to change the name. Those two are not the same,
right?
Or equal at least. And so somebody went ahead and decided this was going to happen, because obviously this is the latest in a long line of things that the administration is doing to the Kennedy Center, and just politicizing another corner of the world, which is just should be to celebrate artists. But anyway, let's keep on.
Very dumb, but very hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Snoop Dogg brings out Huntrix, Lainey Wilson for Netflix NFL Christmas halftime show. Martha Stewart introduced a kaleidoscope performance that pivoted from hip hop to K-pop to crooning Christmas ballads. Cool.
I forgot that there was a whole halftime show, and that but I do remember that Snoop Dogg got chosen because I was like, wait, Netflix games had a halftime show? Because I didn't watch all 3 of them, so this must have been one of the games that I didn't see all the way through. But yeah, hello, Snoop Dogg. He didn't get the Super Bowl, but he got the Netflix Christmas halftime show. So I know, right? 2 years in a row. So the funniest thing about this was they kept showing this is the longest touchdown in NFL Christmas game history. The 2-year history of NFL Christmas games. So thank you for that's just dumb stats. But anyway, there's some fun games though.
But yeah, and then finally, Martin Scorsese pays heartfelt tribute to Rob Reiner. We had a natural affinity for each other. So, unfortunately, kind of a bit of a bummer to end on, but Martin Scorsese still tributed the man that he liked a lot, and, showcasing, and yet another person who
the tributes keep rolling in, and as they should. It's one of the bigger tragedies of the year. I think it's even more so the fact that he didn't just pass in his sleep, or for natural causes, or for a long losing a battle with a disease that he had been fighting for a long time. He just got murdered. That's so it's just absolutely tragic. And yeah, Martin Scorsese. I mean, the both of these directors were in the peak of their prime around the same time. So they were in the DJ. You could see the photo there is from the DGA Awards in 2014. They were both members of the DGA. So yeah. And Martin Scorsese, I mean, he's also at an age in his life now where he's just reflecting on his career. So he's got that big documentary out, so he's promoting that. I'm sure this is where he was asked about it, one of the promotional appearances.
Yep, but that's it. That is it for quick hits. Very actual quick hits outside of the whole WB merger crap. But yeah, there we are. But that's it for the news portion. Now we're going to get into DCU Daily, so that's hopefully going to be a little bit more meaty. Maybe not. We'll see. But let's be hashtag blessed, guys. Let's be.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see. Chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to DCU Daily. Hello. I am the host, John. Lovely to see you all for DCU Daily, the final DCU Daily of the week. Look up, look out. It's DC time. Thank you, Enterprising. It is indeed DC time. And now, Dan is also here for DC time. So, Dan, what are you excited to talk about, Dan? What are you excited to talk about today?
I'm excited to talk about anything Man of Tomorrow. I'm also excited to talk about just some of the Christmas stuff. Obviously, we had some nice. The news cycle must be slow when every big trade in Hollywood is talking about Zack Snyder posting a Henry Cavill photo in the original Christopher Reeve suit. So that will be interesting to get into.
Even though
I'm
that's
sure.
been a picture that's been online.
I know.
Years,
well, that's what I mean. It's like the news cycle must be slow if that's what's being like carried across all these outlets. But,
well,
yeah,
we're going to be getting into that soon enough. But the first thing we got to do is celebrate Christmas with Batman Returns. The DC Prime showcased a bunch of, related Christmassy snapshots of Batman Returns, which is definitely a Christmas movie. Just a very cute, very nice, lovely to see, because, who doesn't love an alternative Christmas movie?
I mean, it's
What kind of
hard to
Christmas
deny.
movies?
It is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard is. That's for sure.
Thank you for the super sticker enterprising. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
But yeah, Batman
to see.
Returns. Not a good movie, but I know people like to watch it at Christmas time, so that's pretty good. But next up, that's the big thing we're talking about today. Henry Cavill wears Christopher Reeve's Superman suit in newly revealed test photos. Zack Snyder says we showed Warner Brothers and everyone agreed Henry was Superman. Too bad he couldn't be in a good Superman movie, but that's neither here nor there. But yes, this is the picture from far away.
Photos.
And this is the picture. I know that this one has been on the net. Honestly, this looks more like the Dean Cain costume because
you're not wrong.
Kind of similar. Like and it's very small. It's much darker. Like the Dean Cain one was. I think this might be Dean Cain's suit. So that's probably why it was shitty, because it was a shitty TV suit. So I'm pretty sure that's the Dean Cain suit.
I agree. Well, look, I don't understand the utility of this other than Zack Snyder just reminiscing. Obviously, that's a lot of what he's been doing on Instagram. But in an alternate reality, maybe that's more closer to the costume than what we ultimately got in Man of Steel. Obviously, the Man of Steel. I personally like the Man of Steel costume for the movie that they were making, but it shows you a very different look at Henry Cavill. With the hair is not slicked back as much. Maybe. Yeah, maybe he definitely was not as big. I mean, but then again, like we remember, what was it? Why am I forgetting his name? David Cornsweet. He's talked about this year that when he first showed up and did like this sounds like a dumb story because I'm sure the artist, like the costume designers know better than this, but apparently when they did a fitting for him for the Superman costume in the movie from this year, they did it before he got in the gym, and then when he came back all swole like 6 months later, he was like, oh, this suit doesn't quite fit. And I'm like, you guys didn't like figure that out? Or maybe he like put on more muscle than they thought he would, so then they had to resize things. But like clearly Henry Cavill did the same, and then you can see Henry Cavill's suit was even more form-fitting. But despite that, I mean, they still had some like padding and muscle enhancements like in the core area and the shoulders. I didn't mind it. I personally think the Man of Steel suit still looks better to me than the Superman suit from this year, but that's neither here nor there. That photo that
I think out of all the suits he wore, I think the BVS suit was probably the best. I liked the gold and crimson kind of vibe. I just don't like the material. Like I get it's supposed to look alien, but I don't know. I just could never really fully vibe with it. And I don't really like the fake muscle look to it either. But if I had to pick, I'd probably pick the BVS one because I just hate like the lines and the collar and all that. But I like the color scheme. I like the Kingdom Come logo. I like the fact he has the tights. The S on the cape. Like I like the David Cornsweet like more in concept because it has everything I like. It's just when it gets to specifics like the lines, like the collar and where the cape placement is, I just don't like those. But I like the briefs. I like the underwear.
Yeah. By the way, just to say, like, to address, I know everybody calls them fake muscles. Like, let's not downplay the fact that Henry Cavill did hit the gym, and you see him shirtless in the movie. The man had muscle. It's not like they didn't put like fake muscle.
Why the fuck did they give him fake muscle?
No. But there's like Monique is saying, the padding is minimal, and really when you look at it, I wouldn't even call it padding. It's more to just highlight. So what he's got there in the core section, and then even like some of the areas in the shoulders, it's not so much padding. It's more, it gives it actually this reflective texture, the way it's layered. So it's more to kind of accentuate elements. It's not really padding in the sense that you would think of like, oh, like it's not padding in the sense of the Shazam suit from the first Shazam movie. That was padding. You could tell those weren't like, he didn't have bolder shoulders as you call them. Zachary Levi did. And then you see Zachary Levi much more bulked up in the second movie in Shazam 2, and you could see more of that as him. I think here they enhanced it for the visuals and spectacle of it, but that suit is like 90% Henry Cavill himself. 95% is like all real muscle. It's just a little bit. I think Monique said it best. There's not a lot of padding there. It's pretty much the man himself for the most part. So, because I mean, let's be honest. If you were talking about anybody else, I would be that there's more credence to that idea. But like, we've all seen Henry Cavill. Like, he didn't need a lot of padding. So, yeah.
But that's not all the DC quick hits. But apparently, Booster Gold is still being, it's in development hell, but it's still trying to be made, and they're still perpetuating that Kumail Nanjiani is meant to star as Booster Gold. So, sometime after the show's announcement, a report emerged that Danny McBride would write the story. Most significantly, Kumail Nanjiani, best known for Silicon Valley and Eternals, started to be heavily rumored to have been cast as the time-traveling hero over time. However, development on the series appeared to slow down significantly, with only sporadic updates seeing the light of day, such as getting a new pilot writer and potential showrunner in mid-2025. Now, a new rumor regarding the show's development has come out and makes it sound as though the project is still ways away from happening. APOC Horseman held a Q&A on X. A user asked him if there were any updates in regards to Booster Gold, and not, unfortunately, it's still being developed. Kumail is still Booster, last I heard. So, he's never been officially cast in the role. That was just like a big rumor, and then it also didn't help that, they were at the Olympics together with Peter Safran and Mike Flanagan, who, by the way, it was eventually revealed much later that they are making his Clayface movie. And so it definitely brings credence to that as well. But Nexus Point News, who's pretty good at certain things, he was signed on to play Booster Gold. And then, Joel Marduena apparently confirmed Nanjiani was indeed going to portray the hero.
Yeah, look,
but then also, like, Kumail Nanjiani was at the fucking Peacemaker part. Why the fuck
would
Kumail Nanjiani be at the Peacemaker appear?
That's James Gunn right there. Look, they're hugging like they're old friends. It's, I will say this. This is at this point gotten to the whole point of, like, if I won the lottery, I will not tell the world, but there will be signs, and then the signs have all been there all year long. So I don't think we should be surprised.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Kumail Nanjiani. I think he's funny. I think he can be over the top ridiculous. And I mean, he has the build for it now. It's just like Shane Topp, I think, would be more perfect. But I think Kumail Nanjiani's a pretty good, I don't think he's the perfect casting. I don't think he's the best casting, but I still think he would be good for the role. But I don't know why it's like everyone's like, oh my God, it's the worst casting ever. It's just like,
I don't think there's any look.
That's the thing.
Here's the thing: for anybody saying this is horrible casting, there's nothing about the Booster Gold character that tells us like he needs to be a particular. If it's a race thing, I don't think that's ever been central to the character, right, in any way that is significant. And overall, you want somebody who's a good comedian, or has comedic timing. You don't need to be a comedian. You just need to have good comic timing. So Kumail Nanjiani could do that, and he's also. I just watched him and Hassan Minhaj do their podcast over Christmas, the holiday, and the dude is still jacked. Like Kumail Nanjiani is still he's still cutting the carbs.
Steroids, my guy.
Still, the dude is still in superhero shape. So I don't think it's gonna be an issue where he's gonna look the part. Not that Booster Gold needs to be huge. He needs to probably be more slim, slim, thick. I guess I don't know if that's the way to go about it, saying it, but
athletically toned.
Athletically toned, yeah. And honestly, he's already
Bruce
played
Lee vibe, not super muscular, but kind of the thinner athletic look to him.
Yeah, I mean, and the guy's he's got 2 decades of over 2 decades. He's been he's been working professionally as either a comedian or an actor for 3 decades now. He's been around for a lot longer than people realize. And in general, I think people will be surprised once he gets to spread his wings a little bit more, because what he got to do in Eternals, I mean, not a lot of people saw Eternals or remember it, because even Marvel forgot about it for a while. But the fact that Kevin Feige brought him in, clearly he passes the muster, right? So like, I'm not surprised that James Gunn and Peter Safran would consider him for the role. And I think he would look the part well. I think he can play the part well. It's also when you look at it, we have talked about like, Chris Pratt, for example. I think Chris Pratt now probably has too big of an asking price to be cast in this role. I think this is more. It would work better with somebody like a Kumail Nanjiani, simply because, I mean, DC, we know, like, with what they've done with Brainiac, who they've brought in for the Superman. James Gunn, Peter Safran don't like A-listers because A-listers ask for much more money, and then A-listers also, in general, just, will potentially could bring more baggage, and especially in some roles, you don't want them to just overtake the narrative. Like, you want the actor to not be bigger than the role. That's what modern Hollywood IP
Glenn
system
Powell
works,
is way
how
too
it
big
works,
now.
so.
He probably doesn't want to do comic book movies. And yeah, I think he would be good for the role. But considering that his last leading project bombed hard at the box office, despite a great director behind it, shows that maybe he would not be the best choice for the role in terms of a logistical standpoint rather than a casting standpoint. But that's just me. But I think he would be good. Again, that's just me.
I agree. I think he'd be fantastic.
In terms of things in development, hell, apparently DC Studios reportedly wants The Brave and the Bold to start filming in 2027 and hopefully release in 2028, which would make it the second Batman-related film to come out in 2028 after Dynamic Duo, of course. I think... so apparently, again, APOC Horseman, yet another one who has a really good track record. Apparently, according to him, they hope to shoot Brave and the Bold in 2027, but that all comes to them, down to them nailing the script down, and they've already switched writers, so we'll see. So it seems like they have switched writers, and it seems as though they've been changing a lot of stuff because Damian Wayne was originally part of it. Now we're unsure if Damian Wayne is going to be a part of it. So, but, here's the thing. The movie is good. It's just, it bombed. And, not a lot of people loved it, but like Glenn Powell, I think, was very good in the role. But the thing is, you can't deny that it bombed. Like, and it's not I don't think it's a hard movie. I think it's a great movie. I think it's awesome. I think Running Man is great. But it's just, you got to think of it logistically of like, well, Glenn Powell hasn't been in a big super hit since like Twisters, which was last year, and he wasn't the leading man. So there's that. And I think Glenn Powell knows his worth. And we'll be like, yeah, money, and they're like, buy. So, but yeah, Running Man is probably one of my favorites of the year, but that's beside the point. You're muted, Dan.
Sorry. Here's what I'll say about Glenn Powell as a whole. He's going to be brought in for A-list level role, and I say that A-list, you know what, that's not even the right way to say it. If Glenn Powell were to be brought into the DCU, he's more likely to play somebody that's closer to Batman or like a prime Justice League level character than he used to play Booster Gold, simply because his asking price is higher. Like, it's the perception of his star power, not so much the results so far. I don't think he has used up all of his shots at being the next big Hollywood leading man. In fact, he's hit on most, of his tries than he is not. Running Man, like you said, maybe Edgar Wright was more to blame than, because you look at the trailers, you look at his performance, Glenn Powell's got, the it factor. So I don't think he is the reason why the movie failed. I think it's also some of it wasn't even the movie, itself. It was it a Paramount film or Lionsgate? I forget who it was, but it just, the marketing campaign was not very good for Paramount. Yeah, fuck. Like,
because I think that was because it was like right when they're like during prime marketing, they were like literally changing
like the
from
ownership.
Paramount
Yeah,
Skydance, and it like kind of failed.
like
No, I
literally
don't
the
think he
studio heads were
flopped.
changing too.
But I'm saying that like you see it, like I'm thinking it as it from like an executive point of view of like, oh, this movie flopped. This flopped movie had Glenn Powell in it, so let's not have Glenn Powell. Like obviously his career isn't over. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, honestly, I'd watch it. I'd watch Bill Skarsgård as Batman. Like honestly,
I would too. By the way, Glenn Powell as Aquaman was also a good suggestion in the chat. Glenn Powell could be a good Aquaman.
Yeah. Edgar Wright also has had a string of flops, but that's not what he's known as. He's more of a cult filmmaker. I think
he's somebody who's not made the
dried
climb.
Up. I mean, I think he's just older now. I think he's in his 40s. And he doesn't have the like 40s. Scientology thing where he looks 50 even though he's almost 80 like Tom Cruise. So there's that. I'm like that's a little over. Kumail Nanjiani would do a good job. And again, Booster Gold isn't a character you're looking to cast for decades to come, right? So I bet you if he is going to end up in the role, he probably wouldn't be playing that role for a terribly long time. Like I'm just trying to imagine like how long you would even have him in the role, and it's probably not for more than, I don't know, like maybe a couple of movies worth of time, if that, and maybe the TV show. So he'll be fine. Like you would probably want to be more concerned about age with a hero that is gonna be in multiple movies, like a whole trilogy, like when you cast The Flash and stuff. So that's a different scenario. But also Glenn Powell, I think, could be great in most roles in the DCU. Yeah. But next up, we have Jorge Jimenez sharing wonderful art that he loves showing off. We might have talked about this before, but, it's such great art that we had to show it off again, because we did talk about the Brainiac, him punching Brainiac after, it was revealed who would be playing Brainiac. So, good stuff. Oh my God. Dan turned black for a second. But cool stuff. But now we move on to the big, hang on. Now we move on to the very big thing of the year. There it is. Man of Tomorrow. Superman. We're going to be talking Superman. We're going to talk about specifically Man of Tomorrow. Fuck it. We'll just use this one. It's fine. But we're going to talk about Man of Tomorrow now. And the first thing is not the bigger story that's in the title, but the bigger thing is allegedly we did talk about this briefly, like a while back, how it's most likely not going to be Wonder Woman, but we decided, since they're setting up the casting of the character next month, we are going to, briefly talk about it, and if there is any I think we settled that it's most likely going to be Big Barda, but, we'll see what they say here. This is from Nexus Point News. In November, Nexus Point News.
APOC Horseman.
Well, Nexus Point News, APOC Horseman works for Nexus Point News, but specifically APOC Horseman. Again, APOC Horseman, he's putting in the work.
This is all from like the same Q&A session, by the way. So
yes. The outlet believed the role to be that of Wonder Woman, who is slated to get her own DCU film penned by Supergirl scribe Anna Neguera. Despite the speculation, the character remains a mystery. If a new rumor to be believed, however, there could be an announcement coming soon regarding to the part. In the Q&A on X, APOC Horseman from Nexus Point News was asked if any Wonder Woman news would be available soon. The scooper brought up Man of Tomorrow's mystery character, stating he believed her to be Wonder Woman and that an actress would be announced in the next month. If that female hero in Man of Tomorrow is her, and I feel like it is, we'll know who it is in the next month or so. They said, I don't know if they'll reveal the character, but I was referring to the actress. He was talking about the actress specifically. Assuming it is her in MOT, that'll be the next casting, I bet. Now, considering, he also announced that apparently that the Deadman animated series that we talked about months ago, apparently that's still in the pipeline. The Deadman animated series apparently is still being written, but that we never got an official confirmation if that was actually happening or not. So yeah, so he revealed a lot in terms of the casting of a character, not necessarily Wonder Woman, but a female character in Man of Tomorrow is going to be cast next month, and we'll see who it is. Now, they said a big muscular woman, so I assume it's Big Barda. I don't think it's necessarily going to be Wonder Woman, but you know, yeah, I mean that could be a good way of doing it. I mean, I
know what you're talking about. Yeah,
theory. I did have a theory that I did the other day where it was that the reason that Lex Luthor becomes part of the equation is because it's partly his fault that Brainiac is a thing. So my theory was that Brainiac was part of the message that got damaged in Superman 2025 with Bradley Cooper and, you know, his mother, like, oh, have a harem, control the world, blah, blah, blah. So Brainiac was a part of that message, you know, just to be like, oh, hey, help Superman achieve what he needs to achieve, which is take over the world and do that. And then with the engineer's meddling, which you can kind of see when she's hacking the message, she has like the black tentacles coming out of her, which is very much like Brainiac. He usually has like, you know, robotic tentacles coming out of him, especially if you're referencing the Injustice 2 version.
Right.
And so she translates the message, but then she awakens Brainiac, and they don't know that now. And then it's revealed that Lex Luthor technically did this, and since it's technically his fault, they're like, okay, motherfucker, you got to come in and help us because you're the reason why this alien species, this alien robotic motherfucker is coming in and destroying the world. So you got to help us fucking, you know, fight back. Now, that's just a theory. I don't know if they're actually going to do that, but that's just my theory because I feel like if they're doing that, like that Kryptonian thing where it's like Brainiac was on Krypton and, you know, helped like nuke it and then left, then I could see them doing that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the direction they'll go in, but it's a good idea. It's a good idea, and it would, like you said, the pieces will fit together much more coherently.
I don't know if it's we don't know if the next bit of news that we'll be talking about that's in the title will be, you know, will be the thing that's going to happen, but obviously we'll talk about it now. But Anthony Manzano saying, John, with the rumors that they might introduce Batman during Man of Tomorrow, do you think it's well, you know, fuck it, let's just talk about it now.
But before we move on,
story.
Hold on. I did want to address the quick thing though there about the whole Big Bard. Apparently, APOC Horseman was implying that Wonder Woman character, we might be getting a casting for that soon.
Yes,
I wouldn't be surprised. I think, look, but if you go back to that article real quickly, I just wanted to say something really quickly about this. If what he is saying here, he, she, or they, whoever they are, the APOC Horsemen, if their scoop is correct, that we're gonna find out who is being cast in this role within the next month's time, basically by sometime in January in the new year. That I think is more likely to mean that it's not a Wonder Woman character. It's more likely to be something like a Big Barda, because I think it's. You do that, and then you, in conjunction with what we're gonna talk about in a second, with the maybe potentially Batman, you're bringing too many top tier characters with their first introductions in the same movie, and now you're getting closer and closer to that Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice territory. Like if Superman wasn't that, then Man of Tomorrow, you know, would. And again, we talked about it a long time ago. It's like they went from a movie which was a solo Superman movie to doing this big crossover instead of doing a direct sequel. So, like, why? Well, it would just be risking, I think, having too many big characters and distracting from the story at heart. Like, and I think it's more likely to be a supporting character. We're not probably going to get the introduction to Wonder Woman until we get to her own movie. And James Gunn said just much the same about Batman. But then again, like you said earlier in the show, the Batman script has changed writers, and I'm sure like they've started from scratch. That means they've just kind of thrown away everything and started over, and maybe we won't even get a Brave and the Bold adaptation necessarily. So that's I'm more likely to say, okay, we might see a Batman or a Gotham related super character, hero kind of character. If it's not Batman, maybe in one of the other ones. It's less likely we're going to see Wonder Woman. Given that James Gunn is very good about bringing in characters who are secondary and tertiary to those main characters. Like what was the villain of the first Creature Commando season? Was it Cersei? Am I?
Yes.
Right. So if you've already seen like characters who were traditionally part of Wonder Woman's mythos, I think it's more likely that instead of being Big Barda, that we get an Amazonian. But that is not Diana Prince. Like or Princess Diana. Like we don't get that.
Or like Nubia or Artemis or something like that.
Exactly. Like I think we're more likely to get another Amazonian than we are to get like
Maxima could be an interest because she's actually connected to Superman, so I could see Maxima. That could be interesting. But yeah.
I mean, John, do you have any? I mean, do you think Cersei in live action could be it? But they wouldn't be casting that, right?
Because then they don't need to cast her because she's already cast because Anya Chalotra is playing her. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, Artemis could work really well. What was the character? Was Artemis meant to be played by Linda Carter in the DCU? Was that the character they introduced her as?
No, that's a different character. I think that was like an original character that was made for the movie.
Okay. Well, I mean, Diana's mother could also, that could work too. Hippolyta could, like, again, I think we're more likely to get an Amazonian, but not, Diana herself. Like, they're probably going to wait, because you don't want to, like, do this where all of a sudden you're getting, because there's one thing when they have, like, a Black Panther show up in Captain America Civil War, because Black Panther needed the rub from all those other established MCU characters. You don't need that for Wonder Woman and Batman. Like, we know who these characters are. Like, you can just introduce them like they introduced Superman in his own movie. They should introduce Batman and Wonder Woman in their own movie. By the way, Wear the Cape, that's a good theory. Candora's salvation bottle up on a ship. And I wouldn't put it past James Gunn to go in that direction. The pieces are there. We'll see how it plays out in Supergirl, and then that will inform how it plays out in Man of Tomorrow. But yeah. Oh, John, that's a good question. Will Brainiac try to bottle Themyscira? Is that possible?
No. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. I again, this is one of those things where you don't want to extend into those parts of the cinematic universe before you get to those movies, because otherwise, like, all of a sudden the wonder of introducing Themyscira and its own movie goes away. So yeah, I'm not sure why an Amazonian Man of Tomorrow, but sure, does it have to be an Amazonian? No, Caleb, that's just me this is my guess.
Why would they have Power Girl if they already have Supergirl? That doesn't make sense.
Based on the reporting from APOC Horseman. I mean, but look, a powerful female character, I think, more than helps balance the equation a little bit more, because this will be a very testosterone heavy movie if you don't have more female characters. We don't know how much Lois Lane is going to figure into this story, given that it's going to be probably a lot more like, on a less of a Metropolis story and more of a worldwide story, John. So I'm okay with, like, if they do include more of like a Amazonian presence or some other super powered Giganta. Okay, could be. I shouldn't have pulled up that comment. Pacerland, hello. Housemaid is yeah. You know what? Brendan Sklenar could be Batman, and he's certainly Batman is a ladies' man, and Brendan Sklenar is eating good in The Housemaid, so that's for sure. Is it possible that a villain would turn into a hero? Sure, as a concept. I don't know how it would relate to. I mean, if you're talking about Lex Luthor.
Maxima, yes, Maxima could be an interesting addition. We already discussed that.
Yeah, if you're talking about Lex Luthor turning good, no. He still killed a dude in cold blood. So I think you can only go so far in giving him a redemption arc. He's still Lex Luthor who, like, killed people, like, and didn't even. Yeah, anyway, I'm just saying, like, there's just it's hard to work your way back from that. It's. Anywho, if it's Batman adjacent characters, Oracle,
who knows?
That might be just
Batman. Let's just go with the Batman part.
Right. So if it is a Gotham character, then I mean I don't want them to go super obscure, John, but let's talk about what APOC Horseman said regarding the male supporting character.
But he also said there's a big male supporting character too. Not sure if it's a hero, but it's someone who will appear in future projects. Wish I had more details. So, I mean, you know, Daniel Rickman claimed that Man of Tomorrow was looking for a major male character. There is also a major new character they're casting for Man of Tomorrow. Some theorized he was meant to be Steve Trevor, but James Gunn quickly debunked that. You know, stated that DC Studios is hoping to get cameras rolling for the project in 2027. We already just talked about that. So, you know, I don't think it's Batman. Like, why the fuck would they bring in Batman? Like, if he already has a movie that's set up. If he doesn't have a movie, maybe, but he has a movie. Why the fuck would they set up Batman in this movie? And it just doesn't make sense, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's
I mean,
going
the thing is, it could be
far
Captain Atom. We did discuss that because he might be showing up in Creature Commandos. Martian Manhunter's a good shout. Talia al Ghul. Why the fuck would Talia al Ghul show up in Man of Tomorrow? That literally doesn't make sense. So, you know, I just think I don't think it's Batman, but like, because the thing is, it just doesn't make sense. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But in terms of like Martian Manhunter could be it. Anyone closely related to Superman, like part of the super family. You know, whoever that is, I don't know, but I don't think it's Batman. That's just too ridiculous.
Yeah, I wish it was. I really do. I just don't think James Gunn has gotten that script to a point where he even knows what exactly to ask a casting director to look for. You know, like he's like we talked about it earlier in the show. He's changed writers. Now that didn't happen recently, but I don't think he's indicated to anybody so far that they're far enough along with that script that he feels like it needs to get into pre-production. John, did we already talk about the whole? Was it a quick hit? We talked about the Batman Brave and the Bold movie might not even be in production until 2028, right? So
yeah, no, we just talked about that.
Which I think if you go off that logic, then I just don't see how they're looking to cast a Batman right now. Because it just wouldn't make just think about it. Like if they're not going to go into pre-production on a movie for almost 2 years, then you wouldn't be casting that role now.
Black Canary be in Man of Tomorrow? Just like, guys, think about this logistically before you comment. Like, just because we're naming characters doesn't make it like happen. Like, why the fuck would Black Canary be in fucking Man of Tomorrow? I understand, like, oh, why would Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific be in a Superman movie? Well, it worked there. Like, they were a team. Like, that's the whole point. But it's just like it doesn't make sense that, like, you know, have that character be in that movie, like, you know.
Yeah, well, I think it's a bit early right now for us to be able to like look at this and say, all right, well,
maybe it's Mr. Miracle. Maybe it's Mr. Miracle, like, and the female character is Big Barda because they're setting up the Mr. Miracle animated show.
But that's not meant to be in canon, is it? Like, are we? Am I?
Well, maybe we don't know if it's in canon or not. It could be in canon, could be not in canon. Who the fuck knows?
Forgiveness, Dan. Oh no, no need to apologize, anybody. It's good that we have ideas, but yet some of them are not as feasible.
You know, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, boom, there we go.
By the way, Liam Neeson for Commissioner Gordon, totally, I would take it.
I think he's too old. I think he's a little bit too
old. I mean,
he's in the Naked Gun franchise. Let him do that. It's fine.
But like, dude, like Jacob Simmons was the DCEU Commissioner Gordon. You don't need like a young dude.
Yeah, because
like,
he was a veteran at that point. Like,
but this Batman is meant to be a veteran too, like in the DCU. So I'm just saying. Okay. Like, can you imagine? It's like just imagine this. You either die a villain, which he did, or you resurrect yourself long enough to see yourself become the hero. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to do a riff on the whole Dark Knight thing.
Right.
But Liam Neeson's could work. Hear me out. Okay, sorry.
That's what everybody's thinking.
Justin Geeky Guy.
That's what everybody's thinking.
Ethan Hawke as Commissioner Gordon would be great. Oh, and then if Maya Hawke is Barbara Gordon, that would be Nice. What's that Fancast Friday thing you've got? The likability meter? The likability meter.
Likelihood.
Maya Hawke as Barbara Gordon.
Nice.
There you go. All right. Thank you for that. Caleb, maybe both of these rumors are wrong and Brainiac is the only big bad of Tomorrow. Well, I think, like you were saying, John, we're probably, dude, yeah, J.K. Simmons just gets younger, not older. He's the Benjamin Button of Hollywood. But I think what you were saying earlier about the engineer, because we even saw, like, we know that Maria Gabriela de Furia, long name, she's in the movie, like, that's confirmed at this point. She's also sort of like on social media congratulated publicly Lars Ettinger for getting the role of Brainiac. So it was like, "Hi, Brainiac!" Like, well, she didn't say it, but like it was just written in her stories.
We know what you mean.
So, and the pieces add up. We've always talked about the engineer as more of an anti-hero. So, and you could tell, like, she sort of, I mean, she's very devoted to Lex, but like they kind of planted some seeds that there might be like, it's almost like this thing, like she doesn't see him as anything but like the best man ever, but like her perception might change over time. So, and I bet you that's the direction James Gunn's gonna go. But that's not a character you need to cast because we already know who's playing her. Pacerland asking about Black Hand and Lanterns. Did we talk about that, John? Black Hand did we talk about that, right? As a theory?
Yeah.
The pieces are there. Who's the actor? Garrett, what's his face?
Garrett Dillahunt.
Garrett Dillahunt. That's the hint, right? Like, he's been hinting at potentially he might be playing the Black Hand. No new updates there, but we did talk about it, Pacerland. It's like, it could be that he is the villain, but we don't know enough about the story of the show yet to really be able to kind of make a accurate guess. John, just to kind of summarize all these, you guys have a lot of ideas and there's a lot of good ones too. In general, do you think they need another villain, like in Man of Tomorrow? Like, you're going up against Brainiac. Do you really need? I mean, and you're gonna have the engineer in it. You're gonna have Lex Luthor, minions. Like, do we really need that? Yeah, exactly. Do we really need that? Like, do we need more, like, villainous characters? I mean, supporting characters, sure. But I don't think there will be more than one main villain of Man of Tomorrow. What do you think?
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have that. I mean, maybe like a Kryptonian bag, but like, I don't know. It's just like, Brainiac is big enough. He's big enough for a Justice League movie. You really think they would bring like that in and then have like, oh yeah, here's two other villains? Like, doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because you got to remember, Rick Flag Sr. is still in this. Yeah. Well, because Rick Flag Sr. is going to play a big role, so I think with Rick being there and
shit, like, that's like obviously what it's gonna be. Like, no shit, like, that's Lex Luthor's character. He's not doing it out of the goodness. He's like, oh shit, it's my fault. I'm gonna take the reins and like be the hero and blah blah blah. Like, that's what he always does. Because the whole thing about Lex is that he was the original Man of Tomorrow, and that Superman came in and usurped his thunder. So.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, quite honestly, if literally all we have is the dynamic of Lex Luthor, Superman, Brainiac, and that's for the most part all we're like, and then obviously Rick Flag Sr. we talked about. If that's it for like the big ensemble cast, and then you have the engineer sprinkled in here and there, and the other Lex Luthor goons from Superman coming in. I think that's more than enough. Like, John, don't you think that's enough to sort of tell a story? Because then if you start adding in a Wonder Woman, you are getting into that Batman v Superman territory. And because, yeah, and then James Gunn movies are not like 3 hours long, generally speaking. So,
right.
How long was Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Do we remember that? Like, I feel like that might have been his longest movie.
I don't know, maybe a little bit longer than 2 hours.
Yeah, so even then, like, and I mean, Superman wasn't that long either. We know Supergirl will probably end up being somewhere around the 2 hour mark, so I just don't see them needing yeah, the movie doesn't need it. Like they don't need the help. Like they're already going pretty big with this, and it's pretty risky as is. Like you're going in the direction of like John. With just last question before we finish up. Hello, Yash. Hope you've been doing well. But and we missed you too. No, not really. But like we're glad you're here. So question for you though, John. But no, genuinely, Yash, you should hopefully have had a good holiday season, and it's still ongoing. But John, do you think it's a mistake? And this is a broad question, but just maybe a yes or no. Do you think it's a mistake that they're doing a Man of Tomorrow after Superman rather than doing a Superman sequel, or are we just sort of thinking too small because James Gunn is sort of telling this bigger story that maybe just needs to go to Man of Tomorrow right after Superman rather than a Superman 2?
I mean, it's still like technically a Superman, but it's like it is kind of suffering from like BVS flashbacks of like not doing Man of Steel 2. Instead of doing Superman 2, it's BVS or Man of Tomorrow. And like I don't want history to repeat itself. That's why I'm like very cautious about this movie. But it is Brainiac, so like that's something, and it's more so to focus like the fact that it seems like the protagonist is Lex Luthor. And he's like kind of like at this intriguing point in his life that like I'm curious how they're gonna do that. Like it's not just like kind of a quasi Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League kind of movie. It seems like it's just like, oh, it's Batman, it's Superman and Lex Luthor. Like that's what it is. Lex Luthor is going to be the protagonist this time, and I think that's an interesting way to do it. But it still brings up like the BVS conversation of like, oh, they're just doing this kind of thing again. And it's just like,
Yeah, well, look, this is where I do think it balances out when you get the first time seeing Brainiac in a movie, live action movie, while doing another Lex Luthor Superman movie. So I'm okay with that. I think that that's a nice balance. I would love to see Wonder Woman in Man of Tomorrow. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I would love to see Batman in Man of Tomorrow. Just so far the indication aren't quite that's where we're going. But who knows? James Gunn is a shrewd he's a shrewd storyteller, and I'm sure he's got a few surprises up his sleeve. So we'll keep an eye out. Maybe between now and the new year, we'll get more news. But as of right now, I think that's it for DCU Daily. Yeah, that's it.
Pretty much. But we're gonna go into Fancast Friday, and that's gonna be interesting. So we'll see about that. And yeah. Thank you for watching, y'all, and we will see you again soon, maybe in like 10-15 minutes. We'll see. But just wait for us a little bit and go take a drink, take a shit, take a piss, take a snack, whatever you need to do, and we'll be back with Fancast Friday. So be #blessed, wait for a bit, and we'll be good. And remember,
it's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka!
And remember, fuck Jeff Snyder and fuck Tom.